How I heard about the roads was just coming home, and Bob Nunziato across the street asked me if I'd heard about they were going to build a road up College Avenue. And of course I hadn't, and it sounded like a pretty lame idea, but he was serious. It was in the paper, and the weekly journal that comes out here in Somerville. So I picked up a copy.
I'm moving out. I mean, the heck with it. I wouldn't stay down there anymore. You get rocked to the bed every night. And there's just one service road open.
And I immediately had a lot of admiration for Carla Johnson, because she's our representative on the, like Somerville's representative on this planning review that was studying all these roads, and it was very obvious that she had spent some time going down to the journal, convincing them this was worth a front page story, convincing them it was worth writing an editorial about, and it had all the facts there. They were planning on building a road up College Avenue to take traffic from Route 2 over to I-93, and they were thinking about alternatively building a road up Alewife Brook Parkway, which is one of the few parks we've got over on the western end of the city. The road was going to come off and come right through, basically right through the Orange Hall. They'd be taking the building on the corner there, be coming right through Mrs. Snyder's house here, and of course for the right-of-way they'd be taking our house, and it'd be going right through in fact to connect up with the old railroad right-of-way. So it'd be coming back into College Avenue right about the library and messing up this whole neighborhood right here, just plowing right through.
The problem is, what do you want to happen here? The people on the other side of I-93 are cut off. The rest of the city, there's no good cross-town transportation. The MBTA assessment is very, very high. I've heard it's the third highest in the state. There's no rapid transit through the city. People can't get to the welfare office in Davis Square. You just can't get around. People paying double and triple fares. Can't even get a cab.
I'm from Tufts, and we have an interest not only in Somerville, but in Medford, and also in Boston, because many of our people in our in-town schools commute by one way or another. And I'd just like to make a few observations. There are only a certain number of destructions you can make of property and recreation facilities in other areas of the metropolitan area before you make it relatively unlivable. And we've seen this kind of thing happen. Route 93 not only put a Chinese wall, for example, through Somerville, but it destroyed the major possibility of making a good, physically aesthetic asset of the Mystic River Basin. In other words, this move to bring cars into the city with all the difficulties that ensues and that creates in terms of pollution is on also destroyed the possibilities of the area through which it went and affected two cities in the process.
A lot of people who came out of the woodwork for that. And there was a lot of organizing that went on.
The water has to be having transportation in Somerville. I think it's a disgrace.
Oh, yeah.
It takes me 45 minutes, the bus running every 45 minutes to get up to work in the morning.
Isn't the real difficulty that you've been talking about, how do you get from opposing a road, and we've seen enough roads, to be able to organize ourselves anywhere in the city, gas tax fund set up, where it can now only be used for highways. And I want to make sure of this. I know that Figure has voted wrong on the issue, and I believe that Representative Kuro has. Now that's unacceptable, and it mustn't happen in an election year 72. That's one very obvious thing SCAT can do. But I mean, it can make a lot of noise with a lot of other people whose interests are the same, the Rim Group Against Highways, the whole coalition, and start talking about how we're not getting our share out of our tax dollars, how we're getting overcharged, and what we want out of our tax dollars.
Rely on somebody like me as I'm seeing the problems to define them. It's got to come from certainly more people than people over here. I think in terms of putting together any kind of a
a position. A lot's happened so far, really. In terms of the stands that SCAT has taken on I-93, and in terms of what's recently happened on the parkways, in terms of the things that Chris has written down on paper, and Lauren also has written things down on paper. And, you know, to pull a lot of that together, plus talking perhaps with some more people, and Susan's been going around talking with a lot of these people who are in other organizations but might lend their support to SCAT as being the official citizens group that's working on the investigation. I think we're a long ways toward that. I think there's a proposal for a green line extension to West Medford that would go through Somerville.
Extension is already under contract, being built.
How about the other?
The present bonding issue did include planning money for extending the airline, making the airline extension, either via Porter Square or by direct board to.
Sometimes you get the feeling that these highway planners aren't listening. If you followed the history of them, you know that's been the history. And we knew we were telling them one thing, was if they tried to build the damn road, it was going to be 5 times as expensive as any estimates they ever came out with, because of the people who would be out there stopping them from building it, because of the flack they'd be getting at every turn, the demonstrations, and the fact that I don't think they could even count on their equipment being there the next morning. Because these people were really angry, and after a history of bureaucrats running over people, 500 angry people was one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen here.